Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you peyote stitch. We're going to do a very simple ring using 11 delica beads. And delica beads, these are made by Miyuki. You can see that they are like little cylinders. And sometimes when you're doing peyote, it just is a lot nicer when you have these type of beads as opposed to regular seed beads, because it gives it a very like definite look. Like here's a bracelet I did using 8 delicas, and you see they sit next to each other like little soldiers using the peyote stitch. Now, peyote stitch is a very commonly used stitch in bead weaving, and you're going to use it a lot in bead weaving. As I said, I did this bracelet. Today I'm going to show you how I do a ring. This is another bracelet I used using Super Duo beads, and I am still planning on doing a video describing all of the types of seed beads and various beads that are used in bead weaving. This is a bracelet I'm making, and when you do a bezel, most of the time, or a lot of the time, you bezel a stone such as this. This is a fancy stone. This is a Rivoli, and you bezel it using peyote stitch. And I'll show you how I've done this too in another video. This is another bezel I did on a ring that I made that has like a little herringbone band. So thread your needle with a comfortable length of thread, which is usually about a wingspan. Now, wingspan is stretching your hands out to the sides as far as you can go, and that's a wingspan. So thread your needle, put it on a stop bead, come back, and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to be using 2 different colors of the delica beads. I've got like a pinky light purple and a darker purple. I'm going to do a real simple pattern. There are so many beautiful patterns out there to do in peyote stitch, and this one's just going to be very simple. So we're going to pick up 2 of the lighter color delicas, 4 of the darker, and 2 more of the lighter. I'm going to drop that down to your stop bead, and this is what you have. All right, so peyote, when you're doing peyote, you're going to pick up a bead, which right now I'm doing the lighter colored beads. You pick up a bead, skip the first bead, so into the second bead. Now it's going to be a little funky at first, how all bead weaving is, until you get going. You're going to pick up, now you're going to pick up a darker purple, skip that first bead, and sew into the next one. Okay, and this is what you have so far. This is the very beginning of your ring. You're going to pick up another darker purple. You're going to skip the next bead and sew into the bead after that. Now this is even count peyote. I should have mentioned that to begin with. There's odd count peyote, even count peyote, different types of peyote. But what I'm showing you today is even count peyote, which is actually my favorite. All right, you almost got your first row done. You're gonna now, since we're up to the lighter color, we're gonna pick up a lighter color. Skip that first bead, sew into this bead. Okay, so here you have your first row done, and what you are going to notice is you've got a sticking out bead after every bead. And in peyote, we're going to flip it, and you're going to take your lighter color bead. We're going to do the next row now. You're going to sew right into the sticking out bead. Now we're picking up a darker purple. We're coming out of that lighter or pinky color. We're going to sew right up into the next sticking out bead. Pick up another purple, darker purple, sew into the next sticking out bead. Now we're at the other end. We're going to pick up the lighter purple or pinky color and sew in to the last sticking out bead. And that is it, folks. That is even count peyote. We'll do some more. I just flip it over like this. We're going to sew toward the stop bead again. And you're coming out of the pinky bead. You're going to take up another pinky bead and go into the next sticking out bead. Some people call it an up bead. Whatever you need to say to remember. But it's almost like little steps. So we're going to pick up a dark purple. So into the next sticking up or up bead, which is a dark purple. Another dark purple. So into the next sticking up, dark purple. Now we're at the end. We're going to take our pink. So into the last pink up bead. Let's flip it and do another row. So now we're sewing away from the stop bead. And we're going to start out with a pink bead. Sew into the sticking up bead, the next pink sticking up bead. Pick up a dark purple. Sew into the next sticking up dark purple. another dark purple. Through the next sticking up dark purple. Whoops, got my tail thread caught in there. And we are at the end again. We're going to pick up a pink bead, sew up through this last sticking out bead. Then we're going to flip it. And that's what you do. You just keep going up and down and up and down and do that stitch till you get the length of your ring. Now you're going to have to, wrap it around and see how it fits. And then at the end, this is a very simple ring. This is not going to stretch or anything. And then at the end, I'll show you how I sew it together, and we kind of zip it up with the other side, and you'll have yourself a little ring. So get to the length that you want for your ring, and then I'll show you how we zip it up. So I've come to what I think is going to be a good length for my ring. I just kept beading and then put it around my finger, and this is going to be what I think is going to be a perfect length for me. Now you're coming out of this top bead. We're going to sew these two sides together and make the ring. But first, I'm going to get rid of this thread with the needle on it, and I'll show you how I do that. And then we'll zip it up with what was the tail thread. Now for peyote, I never tie knots to get this get the thread sewn in. I just sew in, like, okay, so we're coming out of this top bead. You're going to go down. So a couple beads, and a lot of the times you're sewing on a diagonal. And then you're going to go up. So up and down and up and down. And then you can just burn off your thread rather than tie knots. Because peyote is such a stitch where the beads are so close together that there's really not room to tie a knot. At least that's the way I do it. So we're going to burn this off. Then we're going to thread the tail thread, and I'll show you how I zip it up. Okay, so we're on the tail side, and I'm going to just fold my work like this. And as you can see, I've beaded until the up beads are opposite of this side, which is just every other row. And once you do it, you'll know. So what you're going to do is you're not taking any beads, but you're going to zip it up. And by zip up, you're going to go through each up bead. You're going to go through this one here on this side, just the one. And then you're going to go over to this one. Bring your needle through there. Then you're going to go to the other side again. Sew through this one. Then you're going to go to the other side and sew through that one. And then just all the way down. It's almost like a little zipper. You're going to go through each sticking up bead, first on one side, then on the other. And then you're coming and you're going to go through this last up bead. Whoop. Go through the last up bead. And then you're going to turn around and go through this bead, the top bead on the other side. And then it is zipped up. And all you'll do is sew in your threads like I sewed in the other side. And you have a cute little band ring. So I hope you enjoyed learning even count peyote, and if you did, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, because I hope to bring you a new video on a bead weaving tutorial or some type of jewelry making tutorial every week. If you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments and I'll try to get back to each and every one of you. Thank you again for joining me and have a wonderful week.